The city of Chicago pulsed with life as the evening lights reflected off the skyscrapers. The streets were bustling, and inside Le Grand Palais, one of the most exclusive restaurants in town, the atmosphere was filled with refined conversations, the clinking of wine glasses, and the delicate notes of a live piano. Dressed in an elegant charcoal suit, Dr. Samuel Carter stepped through the grand entrance. He was one of the most respected cardiac surgeons in the country, having performed groundbreaking surgeries and saved countless lives. But tonight, he wasn't here to discuss medicine. He was here to celebrate. I would like to take a brief break to ask for your like and subscription to our channel. It was a special night. He had just been offered the position of chief of surgery at one of Chicago's top hospitals, a milestone that deserved to be commemorated. He had made a reservation a week in advance, ensuring everything was in place. As he walked toward the bow reception desk, a well-dressed couple ahead of him was greeted with smiles and escorted to their table without hesitation. Samuel waited patiently for his turn. The hostess, a slim woman with sharp features, glanced at him briefly before turning, her attention to the next guest in line. He cleared his throat. "Excuse me, I have a reservation under the name Dr. Carter." The hostess barely looked at him before responding. "Are you sure? What time was it for?" Her tone was distant, uninterested, completely different from the warm welcome she had given the couple before him. Samuel maintained his composure. 7:30 p.m. I reserved a table for 2. She frowned, typing something into the system, and after a few moments, she shook her head. "I'm sorry, but I don't see your name here. Are you sure you made the reservation at this restaurant?" Samuel took out his phone, pulling up the confirmation email. "Here's my reservation. It was confirmed a week ago." The hostess barely glanced at the screen before sighing. "There must have been a mistake. We're fully booked tonight. There are no available tables." Samuel glanced around the restaurant. Several tables were visibly empty, yet she insisted there were none. "You seem to have a few open spots. I don't mind waiting if necessary." Her lips pressed into a thin line. "Those are reserved for our VIP guests." Samuel felt the weight of the moment settling in. He had encountered subtle discrimination before, but this wasn't subtle. It was blatant. He knew exactly what was happening. The discrimination becomes obvious. Just as he was about to respond, the entrance doors swung open and another couple entered, a white man and woman, elegantly dressed, though far more casually than Samuel. The man stepped up to the counter. "Good evening. Do you have any available tables for 2? The hostess's expression transformed into a polite, welcoming smile. "Of course! Right this way!" Samuel's jaw tightened. He turned toward her, voice calm but firm. "I thought you were fully booked." The hostess hesitated for a split second before forcing a dismissive chuckle. "Oh, well, sometimes cancellations happen last minute." Samuel inhaled deeply. "Yet when I arrived just minutes ago, there were no available tables. But now, one suddenly opened up?" The hostess's smile faltered. Before she could respond, a tall, well-dressed man approached. Lucas Bennett, the restaurant's manager. "Is there a problem here?" Samuel turned to him. "Yes. I made a reservation a week ago. When I arrived, I was told there were no tables. Yet I just watched another couple, without a reservation, get seated immediately." Lucas glanced at the hostess, who avoided his gaze, then turned back to Samuel with a rehearsed, dismissive expression. "Sir, we reserve the right to prioritize certain guests." There it was. The confirmation. Samuel had suspected it, but now it was spoken outright. He took a step forward, voice unwavering. "You mean you reserve the right to refuse service? To people like me?" Lucas feigned offense. "Oh, not at all. It's just that this establishment has certain standards." Samuel let the words sink in. He knew exactly what was being implied. The moment of truth. Instead of getting angry, Samuel pulled out his phone and started recording. "I want to make sure I understand. A black man with a confirmed reservation isn't allowed to be seated, but a white couple without a reservation is immediately given a table?" Lucas's expression darkened. "Sir, we do not allow recording inside the restaurant." "That's interesting. You had no problem treating me differently in front of everyone. Why not let the world see how you operate?" By now, a few customers were watching. Some shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Others whispered amongst themselves. The tension in the air was thick. Lucas sighed, trying to regain control. "Look, if you're unhappy, you're free to dine somewhere else." That was it. Samuel's patience was gone. "Do you even know who I am?" Lucas scoffed. "I don't see how that matters." Samuel took a slow step forward, eyes locked onto the manager's. "I'm Dr. Samuel Carter. I've been featured in medical journals across the country. I have saved lives that you wouldn't even know how to spell the conditions for, and yet, none of that matters to you, does it? Because all you see is a black man who you assume doesn't belong in your establishment." Lucas shifted uncomfortably. A murmur ran through the crowd. The atmosphere had changed. By the next morning, the video of the incident had gone viral. News outlets picked up the story, headlines reading, "Renowned surgeon denied service in Chicago's elite restaurant." Social media exploded with outrage, with thousands calling for a boycott of Le Grand Palais. Lucas Bennett released a public apology, but it was too late. The restaurant's reputation was shattered, and within a month, it was forced to close its doors. Meanwhile, Samuel used the momentum to launch an initiative against racial discrimination in fine dining, partnering with organizations to expose similar practices. His name became not just a symbol of excellence in medicine, but of justice and social equality.